Small acts of kindness start, small. I'm a junior at Redondo Union High, and I've had much experience with dealing with small acts of kindness and learning the golden rule, which is to treat others how you want to be treated, which has a lot to do with kindness. So I'm going to paint a picture real quick. So for the athletes out there, imagine it's national season, and you're coming off a loss. You feel the weight on your back. In my case, my partner was much better than me at the time, so I felt like I had just let down my partner, and beach volleyball is a game of two. And so I just felt like I just lost the game for my partner, which made everything worse. So there I am after the match, walking pensively on the side of the beach on the Strand at Manhattan Beach about 2 years ago or so. And I'm stuck in my trance, but I'm stopped once I see a young girl, about 5 or 6 years old, stopped a few feet away from me at a trash bin. So for those who don't know me, I struggle with what some would call social anxiety, but for me, it's mainly I have a fear of my own social awkwardness. So while I was overthinking the situation, the girl who was standing there was picking up a piece of trash and putting it into the trash bin, but she was having a hard time lifting the lid and barely opening it, and then dropping it almost directly on her fingers, which were so tiny because she was so little. And I felt like a failure during that moment because while I was overthinking, I was not doing anything. I was rooted to the ground, frustrated that I couldn't move at all. And it registered to me that I just messed up again after losing a match. It was like I hit rock bottom, and the day just felt horrible. And I continued to make excuses until, as the girl was turning back towards the way she came from, the piece of trash that was tucked in haphazardly into the bin came flying out. And so I saw my chance. I broke out of my trance and scurried over and grabbed the trash and put it right back into the bin where it should be, nicely. At that moment, the girl was also turning around because she realized it was floating around. The piece of trash wasn't in the bin. And she looked at me, beaming as she watched, and exclaimed a grateful, "Thank you," and skipped a little on her way back. That filled my spirit with so much joy. I felt like the past game never happened, and I felt like a winner again. So now you guys must be thinking, why do you remember this? This is such a random time to just remember these tiny moments. But it's because I just felt so much joy in that one small moment of kindness. And just that one small moment changed my whole day around. Now, Redondo, I would encourage you to join me in an exercise real quick. So I want you guys to recall a time when you've helped someone or they've helped you and been kind to you. I'll give you a moment to think about it, and then notice how you feel. Okay, so once you've noticed how you feel, I'm going to count to 3, and I want you guys, anyone, to shout out how you're feeling. 1, 2, 3. It's joyful, right? However, the sad reality is, as we go through our day-to-day lives, it's really easy to get caught up in our own goals and our own ambitions and looking towards and thinking more about what benefits us in the moment or the future. And we tend to lose sight about one of our most basic human needs, which is to be kind to each other, like the golden rule that I mentioned earlier. And I think it's really important that we express more kindness to others because it can also bring about a wider community, immerse us into like a better community, and boost our well-being, among other things. Kindness doesn't just change someone else's day, it changes ours too, and can even draw in a bigger community within our lives. Without having this large community, or without having connections and community, it can cause us to process this as the same way as if we would process physical pain. Like if you would bruise yourself, if you fell or something, the brain processes the lack of connection the same way, which can decrease the satisfaction of our own lives. So one way to combat this is to use kindness, as I've been restating. And this can be any shape or form, no matter how big or small. Small acts of kindness can also boost our mental well-being. In a study ran by Noho Hosoda, who is a native Hawaiian Center of Excellence director and researcher, found that in a sample of 182 people that with racial and gender diverse group of people, found that there was an improvement in their well-being as a whole, in general. So this is a great indication that we can use this in kindness and implement this into our own lives, and we should be encouraged to do so. Within the workplace, kindness between individuals, colleagues, subordinates, and bosses predicts the levels of happiness that the individuals face during their workday. And this is really important too when it comes to making a healthy work environment, because there's gonna be some days where everyone's like, I don't wanna come to work. Or there's other days when we're so stressed out and anxious and we need something to calm us down. If we foster that kindness, it's really a lot easier and we'll feel more like we want to look forward to going to work. So how do we implement this into our day-to-day lives? So some common examples are complimenting the first 3 people you see today. This could be like after the TED Talk or whenever, or tomorrow, or whenever you can. And walking a friend's dog, leaving a bigger tip for a service worker, and doing so much more, and just helping others. You guys could probably think of way more right now. And though it can be hard at some times because some people have different upbringings and come from different backgrounds, it may be hard to remember to bring up kindness into our day-to-day lives, but a way to combat this is to recall times when others have been kind to us, which is what we just did a few moments ago. So to close, I want to close with the rest of my story. The moment with the trash can is just the beginning of a recurring trend. To play out the science of kindness, the next time I saw the opportunity, I did not hesitate this time. The door to the cafeteria swung open. I was at school, right after lunch. And there was a staff member who was pushing an empty cart, and she looked like she was trying to get into the doorway the way that I just came out of. So I held the door for her. And even though she kept insisting that, oh, it's okay, I can get it myself, I still chose to be kind. Because I knew, even though it was just a small gesture, it would make her life so much easier at the end of the day. And plus, I had no idea what was going on in her life, like at home or in her head, or what she was struggling with. But if it was a different story, if her cart was overflowing and she was visibly struggling, then I would have felt more obligated to help her, but I still chose to help her no matter what, either way. And see, acts of kindness can help everyone, no matter how big or small, and it can help them make them feel happier and feel more joyful and comfortable within their lives. See, being what society labels as being successful, whether it comes from being a doctor or being a millionaire or having a nice car, that's only one way to feel valued. easier way and cheaper way is to be kind to others, no matter how big or small. With a little help from others and using kindness, we'll be able to bloom beyond the boundaries of what we believed that we could be using kindness in our day-to-day lives, and we'll live a happier and more joyful life with this. So, maybe add a little bit more kindness. It can be one or two, just one, small acts of kindness next time, like tomorrow or later today, and see where your life takes you beyond. Thank you.